2016. This is interviews, music reviews, and more. This is The Hotter Show.
What is up, everybody? We are rolling audio here today on episode 301 of The Hotter Show. I have you guys doing absolutely fantastic. Thank you so very much for tuning in and clicking that play button on today's episode of the podcast. I have a really kick-ass episode for you here today, as I do every single week right here on The Hotter Show over the last 300 episodes. I am sitting down with Andy Colonico from Revive the Rose. You guys know Revive the Rose, okay? If you watch hockey at all, if you were a fan of the Leafs, you probably heard their song Bar Down anytime that the Leafs scored, or if you play NHL 21 and you play as the Leafs, you hear Bar Down anytime that the Leafs score as well. Or if you're on another team playing in NHL 21 and you get scored on by the Leafs, there's a chance you're going to hear that song. Their song Bar Down, super badass hockey song. They have a bunch of other kick-ass songs that you guys have probably heard. They were on 97.7 Hits FM for a while there, 102.1, and their brand new single that just came out, Heartless Place, is all over the internet right now, as well as their other single that came out about 2-3 months ago now, Need You Now. They're a kick-ass rock and roll band, and Andy was a phenomenal guest. We talk all about his start with music, his influences, forming the band, the early days of the band, the success of the band, and kind of what that all entails and how that all happened. And we really get into some deep talk about what he feels you need to do to be successful in the music industry and how much he's looking forward to touring. Talk about Bar Down Lager, which is the lager that Andy and Revive the Rose are doing with Taps Brewhouse, and as well as Bar Down Fest, which is going to be a kick-ass festival happening September 4th, Labor Day. Do not miss it at Taps Brewhouse. It's going to be awesome. So very much looking forward to that. Before we jump in, I need to thank everybody for their support on last week's episode of the show, my 300th episode. What can I say, man? Peter Burgers on The Hotter Show, episode 300. First in-person interview I had done in like 2 years. It was so much fun, and thank you so much to everybody who checked that one out. I'm still getting messages about it to this day. So, and it's been over a week now. So it's really humbling, and it's really, really cool. So thank you guys so very much for that. I really appreciate. Big shouts to Roy and Nicole and their customer base and fan base for all of the support. But with that, we are going to jump in to my chat with Andy Colonico from Revive the Rose. Let's get into it. All right, guys, super hyped for this. We got Andy Colonico from Revive the Rose on the show here today. What's up, man? How you doing? Hey, man, I'm doing great. How's it going? Good, man. I'm glad we were able to make this happen. You're someone who I spoke to you about before the fact that my boy Matthew Lane, shouts to Matt, he said to me before last time he was on my show, he said, man, you got to get Andy on. Like, you guys are going to have a good conversation. So Matt's a beauty, man. I love Matt. He's just a great guy, and always thinking outside the box, that guy. So yeah, much love to Matt. Yeah, definitely keeps me on my toes. I'm like, he's always like, oh, I got this idea and this idea. And I'm like, what? Like, I'm just over here podcasting. That's it, man. Well, there's lots for us to talk about. Obviously, I want to talk about your guys' single that just came out last week, and as well as the single that really, truly got me into your guys' music. But before we get into all that, I want to ask you about something that happened as we're recording this just the other night. How was the show at the Peterborough Memorial Center?
Oh, that was a great show. Yeah, I've just been craving a concert, and me and the Trues, we're great pals. So, and I've been a fan of those guys for like a decade, like at least. They're one of my favorite bands ever. So I'm like, I don't care what form I'm seeing these guys play. Like, I'm there. They're just awesome. One of the best live shows going. And also, Adam Gonche was on the bill. Yes. That was a really nice treat, and I've never seen him live before, so that was good.
Was he doing like an acoustic set, or because I live in town, but unfortunately I wasn't able to go to the show. But was he doing like an acoustic set, or?
So it was literally 3/4 of Saint Asanya.
Oh, nice.
It was Adam Cale and their drummer. I don't know their drummer's name. I'm sorry if he ever listens to this. We haven't met, and you don't follow me on Instagram, so it's all good.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, they killed it though. It was a heavy acoustic set. It was heavy.
That's awesome, man. Well, talking about, you just mentioned the Trues and that kind of being a band you've been following for a while here. I want to go back with you and learn a little about kind of your early influences and what got you into music. So what really got this whole thing started for you?
Yeah, man. Well, first of all, I was kind of born into music. Like my mom's a professional singer. She's done acting her whole life. She's done voice acting. She even teaches acting at Niagara College now.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, she's done a lot of Broadway and theater. And her and my two aunts, they have a group called the Mantini Sisters, and they're actually a vocal group that focuses on, a lot of the older Broadway tunes and just older pop tunes and whatnot. And they used to tour theaters quite a bit when I was a kid. And so I was selling CDs for my mom as like little as 10 years old, 9 years old. And I got to see all these cool sold out theater shows with her. And my old man, he was a high school music teacher his whole life pretty much. And he plays saxophone and a bunch of horn instruments, but mainly the tenor sax. And him and my mom, they actually have a wedding band together.
Nice.
So they played a lot of weddings. So I was always at my grandparents' on the weekend. And dude, I was just surrounded by music. My brother, he actually does play guitar. One other brother. He just plays more so for fun. He's actually making video games now for a living. So that's kind of cool.
Whole other creative outlet there. That's cool.
But yeah, here's the thing though. So with that being said, I grew up on a lot of like, R&B, like Earth, Wind and Fire, like a lot of horn bands, Chicago, a lot of theater stuff, a lot of musical soundtracks. Like that's what I grew up on. My favorite band was the Beatles at first, but it wasn't until 2005. My brother also got involved with acting, and he got casted. His first gig was the lead role for Devil in a Midnight Mass, the Billy Talent music video.
That's cool.
Yeah, so he's like the main kid in that video.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so he came home with a signed copy of Billy Talent 1 for me, because I always heard the name Billy Talent on the playground. But I'm like, I didn't know who it was, but I told
who's this Billy guy?
Yeah. I'm like, yeah, Billy Talent rocks. I didn't even listen to them yet. And then he just literally came home with the first album, and that pretty much changed my life. I was like, wow, this is awesome. And then I think like American Idiot came out shortly after, and here we are now. I'm into music, and I played drums around that time too. It's when I started getting into drums a lot. So,
and that was what you started off playing, was with drums. Because there was a video you guys released, I guess it was like a few weeks ago now, where it's you guys playing with, my goodness, I'm going to draw a blank on his name right now, and I feel so bad. Gentleman from the Trues. Oh my goodness.
Oh, John Angus.
John A. Oh my goodness. Can't believe I forgot his name. I always do that, man. I always do that. It kind of surprised me, because I knew obviously you have a badass, unique voice and that you play guitar, but then it kind of threw me off when I see you. And at first I just thought you were chilling on a stool, and then I see, he's got like a little conga thing or whatever you call those. I'm not going to.
The djembe, yeah.
The djembe, that's what it is. The djembe. And I'm like, oh wow, like not only are you a badass vocalist and frontman, but also you got some chops on the drums too. So you started off playing drums.
Yeah, thanks by the way, man. I appreciate that. When I was younger, I actually started on piano first, but it wasn't around the time till the punk rock came in. That's when I started playing drums, because I always I had a drum kit lying around growing up. Like it was like a little kid one. I mean, my dad, I would just always hop on it for jokes, and we'd jam like 2-piece sax and drums, just chilling. But drums. I was in RTR. I was the drummer and lead singer at one point. And then
nice.
We did the 97.7 Rock Search contest, and we made the top 4 finals. But the big thing was we were awesome, but we didn't have a lot of frontman presence. And so that's what they put in their notes there. And Paul Morris at the time was telling me all about that. And it was always hinted maybe I should go to the front. And I'm like, nah, like people do this. Phil Collins does this, but at the end of the day, I just think it was the best call, and we put it to test. And I immediately, I don't even want to go back to being a drummer like live. I love being a frontman.
There's a lot to be said for, and I mean, I'm someone who I'm very impressed with any musicianship, just because, but for me, anytime I see a vocalist drummer, it's almost like it's another level for me, because I'm just like, how are you doing this? Like, blows my mind, but I can absolutely understand going from being behind the kit to the front. It's like, I get not wanting to go back either.
Yeah, man. Well, I mean, like anything, like for me, it's hard to sing and play bass and stuff like that. Like I don't get how people do that sometimes, you know, but I never played guitar until maybe 5 years ago. So, and I'm all self-taught really. So I just, drums was the only thing I had. And I would just sing while playing songs, like just to myself. And then eventually I formed a high school band, and I did that a lot before I revived the Rose. So I had a lot of training for that role. But people are always so like mind blown by it. I'm like, dude, this is all I can do. Like, give me a guitar and I'm useless. But
get behind the drum kit, you can pull it off.
Exactly, man. Yeah, and I am still involved drumming wise, though. We don't have an official drummer anymore. We do hire my buddy Matt as a live drummer, but he's not like in the recordings. He's not an official band member or anything, but he's a busy guy, but he just loves to play with us, and he's honored to do it, and he's great. But I write all the drums still, and I record all the drums still. So that's a fun fact for y'all.
There you go. and some badass drum parts too, man. Like and that's what's cool. Like going back now that I know that, and this is why, at the end of the day, why I love doing these podcasts, because I learn cool little tidbits like that. But going back for a minute, when you were starting playing the drums, was there any specific drummers that you were really like drawn to?
Oh yeah, man. I'd say the first big one, mainly in my elementary and high school years, definitely Neil Peart. Like that guy, I think that guy's so genius. And like, I know it's like a typical answer, but like, there's a reason why he's that answer.
The reason he's a typical answer.
Yeah, I mean, but he's painted. He illustrates drum parts like it's crazy. Like it's not just like he can do a bunch of crazy shit. He literally, just the way his drum lines are structured, it's so amazing. It's like, wow, I wouldn't have even thought of that. You know what I mean? So he was a big influence. He made me discover all these percussion sounds and whatnot. But then I was introduced, I always listened to Green Day a lot, and I really love Trey Cool's playing. I love how it's kind of always behind the beat, but super like to the point, but like zest at the same time, And Dave Grohl, like when I got into the Foo Fighters, was probably in high school, like 2011 when they came out with Wasting Light. I only knew Monkey Wrench from Guitar Hero at the time. Like that's what I mean. Like I'm late to the rock and roll party, man. Like I'm fucking late. But then I don't know what it is about his drum playing. It's just so loose and fun and to the point. Like it's just amazing. Like I can't even explain it, but his lines are just, like I said, it takes a really creative person to structure a good drum line. So I'd say those three drummers there are my top three influences.
That's awesome. And Wasting Light too. I mean, like I'm obviously I'm a little older than you, but like I remember when that record came out, I wasn't a huge Foo Fighters fan. Like I was obviously, again, I know Monkey Wrench and a couple other songs, but man, when Wasting Light came out, it was like, oh, like, okay, some of my favorite rock songs are on that record, man.
Dude, I couldn't believe what came off that album. Like Bridge Burning, like holy fuck, like that tune is just nuts, man. When I heard that for the first time, like I want that, like I want to be that, like like it's crazy. And Dave Grohl, love his mojo, man. That guy's just such a beauty.
Definitely so. And I mean, there was did you ever see the documentary they did with that? I can't remember the name of it, but I
did.
Yeah.
That's what really inspired me to become a super fan, was just seeing their whole story and just their general outlook as a band. I'm like, that's cool, man. Like, that's all I want to be. Just have a good time and write good music, and no bullshit.
have a good time, write good music with good people.
Bingo,
it's a winning element.
Best friends in my band. I'm so lucky. It's hard to ask for that, man. Straight up.
Definitely so. It's not something you see a lot, like, so I'm blessed that a lot of the people I have on my show, like they have that kind of a connection, but it's not always like that. So
no, I'm surprised how many successful bands are like that. It's like, wow, like Metallica, like it's like, I don't know. I mean, they were friends. I don't know.
At one point they still say they are, but it's like,
I just don't get how that happens. Like I've just done so much shit with us as a band, and just like outside the band, like, we go to concerts and just have fun, man. I don't know. I don't get where you go wrong in that whole part unless you're a prima donna. So it's like, yeah.
Exactly. There's tons of bands that like, they were never friends and they're in separate tour buses, and it's like, man.
Oh,
what?
yeah, greasy. Just greasy stitches, yeah.
Oh, for sure. No, you don't want to get into that kind of shit. I don't ever would want that for anybody.
Oh, hell no, dude.
That's it. But talking about going from the drumming and that, like you mentioned how like you would just kind of always sing along when you were playing. Was there a certain point and any certain vocalist, aside from like you already mentioned Dave Grohl kind of overall, was there anyone else that you were kind of like, okay, they really inspired you to just kind of focus on singing for a bit? Or
yeah, well, the Trues is one of those big ones. I don't know. I just couldn't believe the range on that dude, Colin. Like, and yeah, like I don't know what it is, like just the Trues in general, like what they write about, and just them as musicians just really inspired me. Like, and vocally especially though, and that's why it was super cool. Even when we recorded stuff with John Angus last year, like "Need You Now" and all the other singles that are coming out, like they had band practice the one day before they came in the studio. So John Angus brings in Colin, and he's like, "Oh, listen to these songs, man." So they just sat down, and Colin turns around at me, he's like, "Who's singing on this shit?" I'm like, "Dude, me." And he's like, "Man, that's fucking sick. Like, be proud of that, man." He's like, "That you have a great voice." And I was like, holy shit. So like it was like a cool full circle moment.
Yeah, wow. Hearing it from someone like that, it's like, oh shoot, okay, this is real. Like it's one thing if someone who's like just a fan, like I mean, that's what drew me to you guys right away. I'm not gonna lie. Like like "Need You Now" was that song for me where I was like, I had heard some of the other stuff and I really liked it, but with me, "Need You Now" it was like I'm listening, I'm like, oh, it's got a great instrumental, kind of a great groove to it. And like when your vocals kicked in, I was just like, what the fuck? Like this guy's he's such a unique, powerful voice. I was like, holy shit. Like,
oh, thanks, man. I'm glad you dig the song. Yeah, we're really proud of like how everything's been with "Need You Now." It's been nuts.
Definitely so, man. And going back from it and talking about kind of the singing in that, was there ever a point when, like you had mentioned before, there was like a band before Revive the Rose? Obviously everyone has high school bands and stuff like that. Was there any point where you were like just singing, or were you kind of always doing the drumming and singing thing before Revive the Rose?
Yeah. Well, before that, my last two bands, like in grade 8 and grade 9, and grade 10, I think, I was just solely the drummer and backup vocalist for those bands. And then it wasn't until like in grade 11, like I did some assembly with my friend Lisa, who plays music too. And she's like, "You got to sing, man. Like you're good." I'm like, "Oh fuck. Like, I don't know, man." Like, and I did, I sang John Mayer in front of the school. It was my first time singing in front of people. And I knew I always loved singing. Like I was like, my mom goes in the store and I'd crank the tunes and sing in the car and shit. Like, the Beatles, especially, I'd listen to their harmonies and study them. But yeah, then I formed a band called Cops on Commission, which was the first band before Revive the Rose, where I was drumming and singing, like fully, like lead. And actually, fun fact, our song "Bad Blood" is a Cops on Commission song.
Okay.
Yeah, there's actually a Cops on Commission version on YouTube still. But we when we dropped it, the band broke up, so it was just like the song that never had any life to it. So eventually we just said, "This is a good song."
It's a great song.
Thanks, man. Yeah, we're like, we gotta do this again, like proper, better budget, everything, and with more of a following that gives a shit and stuff. So yeah, we just put it out there, and it ends up being our most successful RTR song to date. So
that's awesome. Yeah, definitely. Like going back and looking at your guys' catalog, like that's definitely a song that stands out too. Obviously, "Bar Down" is a song that stands out, of course. And obviously 9 to 5 again, another huge standout song. But talking about before Revive the Rose and that, what got you to the point where you were like, okay, like I want to, obviously being in a couple different bands, some people do the high school band thing and they get to a point where they're like, oh, like, I don't know if I want to do this again. Was there any point where you were just kind of like, okay, you know what? I've done this a little bit. I want to try and do something a little more serious now.
Like, do you mean that from going from drums to singing?
Just like overall, like, it's like if you're in like say a band in high school, some people take it super seriously, you know, and they'll be like, I always find that there's always like one member who kind of like takes things a little more seriously, if that makes sense.
So yeah, I was always giving my all into this high school band, and what I'm looking at now, looking back at the success of RTR versus Cops on Commission, I was always the guy fully putting in the best effort I could into the band. Not saying the other guys didn't put any effort in, but like you can just tell their minds were elsewhere with other priorities, right? Like, for example, my guitar player at the time, he's now an animator, professional animator. He's done work for Nickelodeon and Disney. He's always been buzzing that to all these years, and music was just kind of like a fun thing for him to do, but he never envisioned a rock star life, you know. And even Garrett, who was in Revive the Rose 2 for a little bit, he just loves to play, you know, that's it. But I don't think he sees a full-time career in it. But so I was always that guy that was like, well, no, this is all I'm good at. Like, this is what I want to do, you know. And then when I met Pete and Matt to start Revive, that was the difference. We all wanted to put that effort into the band. We were all like, okay, this is going to take everything we got to get anywhere. So we've always just kept going, never stopped, man. And I'm thankful for those guys, because, you know, they don't look at me like I'm crazy when I bring some ideas to the table, and they're very helpful in all departments. And we just have a good oiled machine together, writing, marketing, like everything. Like we're just really good friends. Yeah, it's great, man. Everyone's full in. Rock and roll's our life. That's what we want to do. So that's it.
That's awesome. And at the end of the day, that's what it has to be like. As much as some people don't like to look at it this way, being in a band, it's a brand, right? You can't
really is.
You know, you have to look at all aspects of it.
The funny thing with RTR too, though, is we struggled with brand for a while, like when we were early starting out. But then I really looked at, I went to marketing school. My teacher at the time told me, like, man, you got everything in you. You just got to write some goals out to like your organic brand. Like, you are the brand, like just you guys as people. And I really thought about that. And I was like, he's right, man. Like, I don't got to wear no leather jackets and all that shit. Like, you know, we're just the boys. And like, same way, I know I have a big circle. Like, I have a lot of great friends. How did I make all those friends? Just by being authentic, right? And same with just what we were writing. You know, I don't know if you saw our first record's called Potato.
Yes.
And I know some people are like, what the fuck is this? But you know what? That's as honest as it gets.
That's
right
it, man.
That made sense at the time. It was the era that just, we were at a time where like we didn't know what the hell was going on, and that was that. And so I realized the more, and it was a very well successful EP. Like it brought us a lot of opportunities. And I thought about that. I'm like, what was so special about that? Like we never overthought that record. And we just started saying, screw it. We don't want to overthink our image either, but we should definitely maybe push the brand, what's just honestly in us more, like, you know, versus trying to find a brand. We are the brand. We just need to get it out there more.
Exactly.
You know? And so that's what it was. And that was the secret. So, and I don't know, we're fun people. So
well, that's it, man. Like, I mean, just watching from afar, you know, like as someone who didn't obviously, you know, doesn't know you guys in person or anything, like I'm watching going, okay, I'm looking at your guys' YouTube, and you have like, even just like watching the music videos and stuff. It's like, it really, it almost like it's like soaks through the screen how much fun you guys are having. And I see you interact with people, and it's like, you can't fake that. You really can't.
Man. You can't. And it's just funny because like we still look at each other like that little basement band, and then like all of a sudden we're playing like this super serious gig, and like nothing's changed about us. Like we're just treating it like we're playing to like 5 people like at like a venue back then, but like now we're playing to like, you know, 1,000 this time. It's like whatever. But yeah, man, it's like anything. You look up to like other musicians, like, wow, like I bet like if I met him, like he'd be the best dude ever. And it's like, well, that guy's just being himself, man. So you know, I just thought about that too. I'm like, well, people like me so much as my friend, you know, I'll just brand myself then.
Exactly. It's like at the end of the day, you know, you have to sell yourself when you're in a band, because at the end of the day, that's what people are your brand is you. And if you're, you know, like I've had this conversation with some people too in the past where it's like they kind of play a character on stage, and obviously depending on the music, obviously like with metal music and stuff like that, like more heavier stuff, it's, you almost kind of have to, you can't be a death metal singer all the time because it get really old really quick. But like
totally,
when you're playing rock and roll, you could be that guy all the time, right?
Yeah, man. You know what? Like, yeah, I don't party all the time, but like,
of course, yeah.
When you're up there, it's such a party. Like, you know, you can't help but just embrace that inner like party attitude, right? But like, I'm not always like that every day,
yeah.
you know. But like in the head, I'm like, when is the next moment where we're gonna have a great time like that, you know? So,
kind of like turning yourself up to 11, almost, so to speak, right?
Pretty much, man. Yeah.
That's what you got to do for sure. And it's cool, man. Like looking back for a minute on Revive the Rose, like in those early days, did you guys kind of have like, I'll touch on it a little bit already, but did you guys kind of have like a real plan as far as, okay, this is exactly what we're going to do? Or like you said, were you guys kind of just like, hey, let's have fun. Let's just kind of be ourselves and see what happens?
Yeah, no. Yeah. It's like, let's say like when Potato came out, we were more winging it. Like, well, we got these songs, let's just record them, you know? And then like, wow, we've actually never been on tour as a band. Like, let's figure that part out, you know? Like, how do tours get booked? So the early days were a lot of focused on like figuring it out, like, you know, like just figuring out the system of the industry, you know? I was tired of all the question marks. So I just wanted to figure it out. And after some, you know, lots of screw ups and whatnot, I think we finally got to an opportunity, and we had a decent following this whole time though, which is the crazy part. Like we've always had like a dedicated couple people following us, great friends, always pushing us. And, you know, that's how it all started. It was just based off our friends having good times at our shows and stuff. And finally we got to a point where like, hey, we're like, we literally put out, you know, like 9 to 5, Bluff, Rebound. Those all came off an EP that we took down because it was unmixed properly. And it was just such a kind of a flop in that sense. And like, even like 9 to 5, when I gave them that version of 9 to 5 at Hits FM, they didn't want to play it because it was mixed wrong. And I knew that. And so finally, when I got it remixed and then it got added onto the radio, that kind of like snapped a light bulb in me. I'm like, oh man, we got to spend more time on recording, you know, and just making sure it's perfect, you know? And so we just got our best songs again, plus that EP. We made the LP that, you know, the self-titled there. We fixed up those old ones and we recorded some new ones. And then we looked at like a 12-month plan. We're like, okay, so let's see what songs fit. Like, we're like, Moxie, that's such a great like banger. Like, we're back, baby. You know what I mean? Like, let's put that one out first and let's do it in a wrestling ring because Moxie means strength, you know? Yeah. Just starting to put little clever details together like that, right? And then I'm like, well, Bar Down has to be the second single because we'll pitch this as the Ice Dogs theme song and the hockey season's next in line, right, in October. So we planned that as the second single. And then we're like, well, Bad Blood's kind of it's a gloomy song and November sucks balls all the time. So let's put it out in fucking November. Like, that's how we started planning shit. And then it just everything just started snowballing, like with the proper plan, you know, within a month of each other, we just started hustling these singles and always putting content out. Always. I love content. So we were always just making sure and people loved our videos. So we were like, okay, let's just keep doing videos. Like, if people love the videos, it's a demand. They want more. So let's just keep doing it. So yeah.
Even if it's not necessarily like music videos, it's like, let's just do videos of us doing whatever, right?
Exactly, man. And even like some of the cases, like when we put Moxie out, we didn't know what to expect. But then Alan Cross magically picked it up after hearing it, and he made it like his number one songs you must hear this week.
Which that's
and
huge.
Plugged it on the Edge and everything. And we're like, okay, that's a big fucking comeback right there. Like, how do we one up that? And then the whole hockey song just snowballed after that.
Of course.
Like, okay.
How was that for you? I mean, like, being someone who, I mean, obviously, like, I know you're not from Toronto. I know you're from a little ways away from there because you're from Welland, correct?
Yeah, Welland, yes. Yeah.
So I know obviously you're a little ways away from Toronto there, but how was it for you being that, you know, the Edge? I mean, especially in that time period, it was huge. I mean, it's obviously still a huge station, but to be heard on the edge, like, how was that for you? Did you have like a little bit of a mark out moment there? Or?
Dude, yeah, it was a big moment, and especially like it's just so unexpected. You never expected, like, especially when you think about like how you recorded the album and like, you know, I don't know, like we didn't have like the biggest budget for it, right? But like we did like in our buddy Ryan's basement, half of it, and like just like it was just so organic the way that album was done, and then to have it played on such a reputable station, I was like, fuck, man, it really doesn't matter if you just write a good song, it just goes, like, you know.
So a good song's a good song, right?
Dude, you can listen to Kerplunk by Green Day. Terrible production, but the songs are so sick. Like, I crank it all the time. I don't care that it sounds like a tin can potato. It's fucking awesome, that record.
That's it, man. And that's something that I've always been that. Like, I was you know, in my high school days, a student of the grunge era, right? And like, especially the early days of grunge, it's like some stuff is just like, looking back on it now, it's like, wow, that sounds so, like, production-wise, everything, it sounds so bad, but like a good song is a good song, right?
Totally, man. Yeah. And there's nothing stopping that either. And sometimes it's better recorded that way. Like we tried to re-record Gold Digger and it just didn't come out the same. I don't know. It's cool, but like it just wasn't the potato version of Gold Digger. It was like, it's better off than the $600 budget, it seemed. So we kept it that way.
It's like some songs almost just lend themselves better to that, I guess, right? Like it's just, if you try and fancy it up too much, it's like, nah, it needs to be this way.
Yeah, the old Gold Digger was super raw, you know, and it's like, oh, that's what makes it gritty and awesome, you know. But I don't know, man. Yeah, so a good song's a good song, though, and that's the bottom line.
For sure. Talking about that for a sec, do you have a certain way? I'm always interested to ask people this. Do you have a certain way that you like to write, a specific way? Like, do you like say, like, for example, like some people they only will write lyrics after the music is done, or they'll have a lyric idea that they'll kind of build around it with music? Do you have a certain way you like to write, or you and the guys like to write, or?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it's different. But if I'm writing personally, sometimes like I'll just be, you know, fiddling around with like a guitar riff, and then I try to structure like the song that way. Like I'll make it all instrumental, and then like I'll just really listen to it and try to think of vocal melodies, not even lyrics. And I just kind of, just based off the mood of the instruments, it kind of like just naturally comes to me like what I'm thinking of, you know. Or sometimes I just have a vocal melody stuck in my head, or like a lyric loop, and I just try to figure that out on a guitar, put the melody to like instruments, and then that's your chorus right there, right? So then I'm like, okay, well, what the hell am I talking about? Like, what does this little thing I'm saying mean? And then I try to figure out like a cool riff that leads into that hook, and then I go back, I'm like, okay, now what do I want to talk about? And then I kind of go that way sometimes. So it's like, it's just different, you know?
That's awesome. You ever do the vocal thing? If you have something in your head, you ever like do the whole, like, you just like singing a melody into your phone, but there's no words?
Yeah. Oh, all the time. The awkward at work voice clips or something.
Yes.
Like that. Yeah, dude.
Live for that shit.
Or the in-car thing. Yeah.
You're at a red light. Hang on, I gotta.
Oh, literally, man, all the time, dude. One was like that recently. I have a song I wrote called "Take You for Granted," and I ended up writing it about how many people have saved my ass for driving me home instead of letting me fucking say I'm fine, I'll be good. They just drove me home instead, and I wrote about that. And it's like the hook is, "You'd probably save my life. I'll never take you for granted." But the original version of that was me at work, and I got a coffee, and I was just like in such a good mood. I was like, "This coffee saved my life." And I'm like, "Oh, that's a cool melody. That's kind of Smash Mouth vibes." So I just recorded it, and then I'm like, "Okay." And then when I listened back to it, I'm like, "Okay, well, I wrote a song about coffee like a couple months ago. So let's see what else saved my life." And I'm like, "Oh, people the other day. I partied and they drove me home, and I'm okay." So I wrote about that.
I mean, you can never have too many songs about coffee. Let's be serious, but that's fun though.
Yeah, man. Well, actually, it happened to be the song was also in the key of F sharp, and it said coffee, and so was the other song. So
it's like, okay, I can't have two songs in the same key about the same thing, I guess.
Exactly, man. Yeah. But yeah, it's cool. I wrote that song about how we all think we're like invincible when we're drinking and shit. And then like, you know, and then we're really not. And we wake up and we're like, holy fuck, thank God. Like,
why am I in a ditch? Like what happened?
Yeah.
Like, why am I lying in a ditch? Like,
yeah, man. I just felt it was a topic that's never really written about. So I'm like, that's cool. I'll say thanks through song.
That's cool. And shout out to those people, because that's a good thing to do.
Yes, for keeping me alive and keeping me touring, for not being stupid and driving me home.
Keep making badass music.
Hell yeah, man.
That's it, man. Well, you mentioned earlier too about Bar Down and it being, you know, picked up for NHL and that. How was that whole experience? Like, obviously, I'm assuming you're a big hockey fan.
You know what? I'm actually like an all right hockey fan.
Okay. Well, I'm the worst Canadian because I have no interest in hockey. So
you know what? Almost to that degree with me, except like I really appreciate the hockey life and culture because of being from such a small town, surrounded by it all the time. And my old man loves hockey. Like, he's a Leafs fan. So that was a big thing for me when the Leafs picked up the song. I'm like, yo, that's my dad's team, man. Like, that's sick. But you know, I love playing ball hockey. Ball hockey is one of my favorite hobbies, believe it or not. Like, when I'm not, you know, and I want to do something physical, I love ball hockey with the boys, and then we go get some chicken wings after. Like, it's a whole thing, man. Like, you know, and I don't know, just a lot of my best friends play hockey, and we just all get along and have a great time. And I love follow hockey. I'll go watch the game with them, you know, and I love the whole, you know, I'll go to like the local games, you know, and just they give buddies coaching some people. I'll come out and support them, you know. So it was very humbling and easy for me to write. And I'm glad through my experiences of just enjoying those moments, I was able to capture that into a song for people, because now I'm seeing people, it's like on their hockey playlists, and they're like, man, I put the song all the time during the games, and like it now means something to people. And I thought that was really cool, because it's like it wasn't hard for me to write, is what I'm saying, because it was like I'm just so around it, and I appreciate that culture so much. So yeah, that's how it's kind of been. It's kind of been like it means a lot to me in the sense that I can write that, and my friends love that I wrote it. Like, they love it, and they're like, yo, that's my boy. Like, Andy wrote this song, and I'm like, yo, these are for the boys. Like, go send it.
For the boys out on the ice, man. That's
it. It's like an ode to the boys. Yeah. So I'm like, that's cool.
That's awesome, man. I love it. And then how was it? I mean, like, for me personally, it was cool for me to learn that you guys had the stint on 97.7 too, because that was honestly, like, that's my station. I mean, obviously I'm in Peterborough now, so it doesn't really come in that well in Peterborough, but that was my station for me. And, you know, some days I might get it. Like, if I'm in a certain point in town, I might get it a little bit. But how was that for you? Obviously, you know, growing up in that area, like 97.7 is the station in that area. How was it getting on 97.7?
It was pretty remarkable, man. It was and it felt great because I broke yet another barrier where I didn't need a contest to tell me that I belong on the radio. You know, I wrote a good song, and it needs to be on the radio. That's just it, you know? And I knew I wrote a good song. 9 to 5, catchy as fuck song.
Oh, yeah.
And it's relatable. And I'm like, you know, and you know what, though? It's really not the best song, but it's better than a lot of bullshit out there, I'll be honest with you. But it just what it was. It's catchy. It's got all the parts. It's got all the stuff. And I just felt good that all that hard work and bringing it back to the lab to get it remixed, and it was all worth it, and all our hard work. And it was cool that the station viewed us as an opportunity, you know, and I thought that was cool, and just they were stoked on it, and that was really cool. I have a lot to thank for Paul Morris for giving me another chance to have him listen to it after I fixed it, and he put it in the listening meeting just before they actually let him go there. So it was just crazy timing, believe it or not. So I got really lucky, but yeah, I just I think it's cool, and like it's cool. I grew up with Hits FM, and
of course,
yeah, like I said, I didn't need a contest to get on there. I worked my ass off, and that's how I got on there.
It's a success story, right? And it's cool for other musicians, probably like within, you know, just Southern Ontario, to be like, hey, someone did it. Like, someone went in, worked their ass off, wrote a badass song, and they got on the radio.
Yeah, man. And yeah, opportunity does land on your lap, but it only does that when you work your ass off for it, though. Then it lands on your lap. Like, you know, it doesn't just magically go like, hey, I'm fucking so-and-so from Sony. Suck my ass and sign this contract. Like, no, never the case. You got to put some sort of effort into it, you know?
Mm-hmm. So you can't just, you know, you shouldn't be able to just go on YouTube, write a song that's meh, and the right person sees it and they're like, oh, here, I'm going to sign you to this contract and take all your money. Like, that's not how it should go. Like, it should be about writing a good song that, you know, you do all the work yourself. You got to put the work in.
Yeah, man. Like Lil Dicky, for example, that guy used all his bar mitzvah money and he put it on the music videos and it went viral in one day. And even then he still didn't sign a record deal. He did like a GoFundMe. He was smart. He capitalized on it and he knew that he just needed to keep investing, you know, and then opportunity landed on his lap when he had more shit to offer besides that one big hit, you know? So, like I said, it will land on your lap, but you got to put the effort in.
Yeah. You can't put in a, you know, couple months. It's like the fun meme where it's like every hometown band after they release a 5-song EP, let's split up, gang. Like, it's just like, you can't do that. I've seen it so many times, man. It's like, you gotta put the work in, you gotta chip away at it. And I mean, you know, it's awesome to see a band from, you know, Southern Ontario, like making waves and kicking ass, man. It really is.
Thanks, dude. Yeah. We look at all of our songs as opportunities, you know, like they usually say pick 3 singles or whatever. Nah, man, we'll milk the shit out of that whole record, and we want every fucking ounce of that record heard. So we'll put it all out there as best as we can, you know. So, yeah, we just see every song as an opportunity for a different road that could potentially benefit us to succeed further. So.
That's it, man. Going back for a minute, you had mentioned touring and things like that. I always like to ask, how was that first touring experience for you and the guys?
Greasy. It changed us as dudes, though, in a best way. Like, we were just kids, man. Like, we were like 18 hitting the road, like, you know, and we never done that. We never just like, it's just 4 guys in a van just going to play. Like, we didn't care how many people were even there. Just the fact that we were able to tour to different cities and play in them, like, it was like just the weirdest funky vacation ever, if you look at it that way. And like, we made some money back off some CDs we sold and merch, whatever we had, but that's the work you got to put in. And we just grew a lot, bonding experience, and just put a whole appreciation into the music. And like, I think that's what really kicked it in for us after we did that tour, just meeting musicians all out there doing the same thing. And it's cool to see where some of those people end up, man. Like, some of them like are still hustling too. Some of them gave up, you know, a year later after that. But I think that tour, you know, it wasn't the most commercially successful, but like, it started a lot of things. And like I said, yeah, we hired someone to book that first tour. You know, I didn't know how to book a tour, but had that tour not happened, the owner of the Horseshoe Tavern wouldn't have got the sound guy to insist on giving me his email so we can continue further down the road. So that got the ball going for that. Now, like, I opened for the Trues at the Horseshoe, and we're like buds, me and Craig. Shout out to Craig, who books all the bands at the Horseshoe. It's just cool. It's kind of like him getting to see us grow up almost. It's like, it's cool. But yeah.
That's awesome. And I'm sure it's awesome for him too, again, right? Like, it's just, like you said, literally, it's almost like when you're in a position like that. Like, I worked in a music store for a number of years, and like, I would see these kids come in, and like, they're like, you know, 15, 16 years old. And then, you know, in a couple of years, they're forming bands and they're releasing music. And it's like, whoa, this is a really cool experience to watch, you know, these kids grow up into these awesome musicians. Next thing you know, they're writing badass songs that are on the radio, you know?
Totally, man. Yeah. And yeah, that's just the reality of it. That's what happens sometimes, you know. It's just, that must be awesome to see. And that's kind of the feeling I get through our label management company that we run, actually, called Snare Guy Records. It's really cool. I get to like be there day one for artists that are, 1, good friends, and 2, I just truly believe in. They just need a, you know, extra kick in the arse in some departments, and that's what I'm there for, right? And it's cool to like just see what I see in them as such good people, and they're all into the art for all the right reasons, and I get to help them kind of get going, you know, get further. And I think that's so cool to watch, man. Like, and all of a sudden they're just killing it all of a sudden. It's like, dude, that's sick.
That's it, man. Just talking about that, who are some of the artists that you're working with right now with Snare Guys?
Yeah. I'm so the first artist I ever signed was a rapper from Stony Creek, and his name's Conan Doyle. And I discovered him off an Instagram ad, and I thought he was pure genius. So, and I don't even listen to a lot of rap. I do more now because he's introduced me to a lot of cool shit. But I just thought what he was saying was honest and cool. And I'm like, as a rock orientated man, I actually really fuck with this. So I'm like, I don't know what I can do for you, but I'll help you out. Then I ended up signing my good buddy who's a blues folk roots artist and rock and roll. His name's Gravely James, and he's badass as shit. He's like, you know, like when you watch John Mayer, just him and the guitar by itself, it's like, what the fuck did I just watch? It's amazing.
How is this happening?
Yeah, and his songwriting is so genuine and like just clever and quirky, and it's amazing. It's like, I want to help that, you know, like that needs to be heard more. Like we need more honesty out there. And then I end up signing my boys, the Jailbirds, who I know you talk to. And
shouts to the guys.
Yeah, shout out to the boys. Yeah, they're great. I love those guys, and I've kept them under my wing as much as possible with RTR, even just giving them gigs as much as possible whenever I can. It's because they're such a great band, and they're just good dudes, and you know they mean well. You know they're just doing the best they can, and they're gonna go places. And you know if I can take them with me, I always said I would, so I just said fuck it, I'll manage you. So.
That's it. Again, talking about a good song's a good song. Like, I mean, the talent in that band is ridiculous. But again, like you hear their EP, I'm like, holy shit, this is real. Like, this is next level stuff. Right?
Mike doesn't fuck around with guitar tones either. Yeah. That guy's a nerd, and I love it. Like, he just nerds out on making sure that is the fattest fucking tone you ever heard. And it's great.
That's it, man.
And right now he's on a hiatus at the moment, but he will be coming back. I am managing an alternative indie artist known as Diz James, who I've been friends with for years. His name's Nick, and we were actually college roomies at one point. We did Mohawk music program together for a year, and we had a lot of bonding there. And that guy's a one-man army, man. He plays all the instruments on his albums and shit, like harp even, like it's fucked. So like he's just really good, and I want to help him bring that vision to life, man. You know, and I know a few people, and I know a few things about branding and getting your word out there. So I just said, let's do this together, man. So then all the artists I work with, they're all hustling the fuck out of their art, and that's all I could ask for, man. That's just keep investing in yourself and keep just killing it for yourself. You know, like you're having fun and you're being honest and putting the best quality shit that you know you're putting out there, and you know, and then I'll just help you make a plan of it, you know.
Exactly. That's what's so important. Any kind of creative endeavor, I say this all the time, like do it, number one, do it for the love of the game, so to speak, but then also know that in your heart this is the best stuff you can put out, and you're putting everything you have into it. It's so important, man.
Exactly, man. Yeah, I've been really lucky too. I have an intern this year from Durham College. His name's Aaron Esposito. And he actually brought over Cigar Club, another good band. But he's their primary manager, but I do help out with a few things with them. But yeah, dude, I'm pretty busy.
You're a busy guy.
I wouldn't have it any other way, though.
Oh, yeah, it's better to be busy than sitting around twiddling your thumbs, man, for sure.
Fucking right, man. And someone's got to build a community, right? Everyone's always talking about how, oh, man, the scene's not what it was, man. It's like, shut the fuck up. We'll make one.
Yeah. It's like, okay, if it's not what it was or whatever, let's build it back up, right? Yeah.
If one band's buzzing, let's get the other bands buzzing. Let's fucking go. Like, takes teamwork, man. Yeah. That's how the Seattle thing got moving. Everyone's talking about this amazing Seattle scene. It fucking started with the same shit. All those guys are friends, man. They're all just literally amazing. And they just put it together and made a whole scene.
And everyone brought everyone up, and everyone talked about other bands in the scene and interviews and stuff. And like, that's what you have to do, man, for sure.
It's great. And that's why he knows what's happening is all of our circles are coming together, and we're making this bumping again, and everyone's growing, and it's awesome. And it took a while for RTR to figure out our train, right? And I don't want a band that's so talented to be so confused on how to do that. I'll help you right out. Like, you know, if I believe in you and you're good bud, yeah, I'll help you, man. So it just is my way of paying it forward. I've had a lot of great opportunities myself, and I've been lucky. And my version of paying it forward is this Snare Guy Records. So
that's it, man. That's awesome. I'm looking forward to all that and seeing the bands you're working with. And speaking about things I'm looking forward to, as we are recording this, your guys' brand new single, Heartless Place, is actually going to be coming out on July 16th. So as you guys are hearing this, it's already out. So if you haven't heard it yet for some reason, go check it out. Yes. Walk me through that single. How, like you mentioned that you guys have recorded it at the same time as Need You Now, but just kind of walk me through Heartless Place a little bit about the song itself.
Yeah. We recorded Heartless with 2 other singles a month before the apocalypse happened. In February, we went in and recorded them with John Angus, which is kind of how we got to become really good friends. Heartless Place, I actually wrote that song. I booked an acoustic tour for me, Diz James, and my friend Mark at the time. And we showed up to this restaurant in Barrie. I forget what it's called. It's across the Flying Monkeys place, though. And we told this guy, like, yeah, we'd play covers. And, like, we ended up just doing, like, 3 sets, like 1 set each that night, and we kind of just played whatever we wanted. And then, the crowd was just so negative about us not playing covers. And I remember that, and I was like, man, what a heartless place, man. Like, this is fucked. Like, people are just so heartless. Like, here's 3 awesome musicians just killing it, and this is what the response,
I want to hear Freebird.
Yeah,
like,
man.
Dude, shut up.
And I ended up doing the classic iPhone thing in the bathroom. Yes. I was like, I'm in a heartless place or something like that. Because once I said heartless place, I started looping in my head. And then we went through like 3 demos of it. And then John Angus was like, oh, you got all the parts in the different spots. Like, this needs to go here. Like, the intro is just the bridge now. Like, I'm like, oh, fuck, this makes way more sense. And now we got Heartless Place now.
That's it, man. That's awesome. And it's it's a badass tune. So I'm glad that it's so funny that you were literally in the bathroom of the place. Like,
yeah, man.
This makes me laugh.
Yeah. And we even themed the music video based off that moment, because it's like an open mic night at a bar. And we got our buddy to butcher Blink 182 a cappella. I Miss You. Just where are you? And then he gets booed off stage by we cameoed Ricky Butcher from Sons of Butcher, and him and his girlfriend came out and they booed him off stage. And then we got the bar owner Eric at Taps. We got him to cameo, and he's like pretending to be the open mic host. And he's like, okay, up next, Rose Revival.
Yes.
We did that because everyone, like, there's always those guys that screw up our band names. So we're like, hey, just to make this even more cringe, like, let's just throw that in there. And then the song just kicks in, and we're just killing it. And we're just playing our song. The banner folds down from the ceiling. Like,
that's awesome,
like,
man.
Yeah. So it was cool. We actually kind of got to theme the video off, like, the actual moment that I wrote that song.
That's awesome, dude. That's again, that's why I love doing this, right? Because it's just I would never have guessed that you wrote that song basically in the bathroom of the place you were writing the song about. That's awesome.
Yeah, man. Yeah, no, it's fun facts for sure, man.
That's it. Well, speaking about Taps, I of course real quick want to touch on the fact that you have a lager that you guys do with Taps Brewhouse. How did that come about?
Yeah, man. Yeah, we definitely have the good old Bar Down Lager in full production right now. We're on our 10th batch, I believe, which is amazing. So 10,000 liters of this beer have been made, which is kind of fucked up to think about. But so obviously with the whole Bar Down song snowballing all its way up into the NHL, and when the Leafs added it to their warm-up playlist, I had contacted EA Sports again because I had already been in touch with them. I clickbait the producer on a video, and he finally just gave me his email. And then I sent them the local paper article about the Leafs adding our song, and then he was like, yo, that's sick. And then, like, he CC'd like 3 other EA Sports dudes in the email. And then, like, I don't know, like a year later after that moment happened, like, it was the pandemic. And it was about July of 2020. We found out we were considered for the game and the soundtrack. And we got offered a deal for that. And then we're like, what do we do? Like, we can't even fucking play to hype this. So we said, well, let's make that beer we always wanted to make, man. We always said it'd either be Moxie Blonde or Bar Down Lager. And we thought Bar Down Lager was a great opportunity for that moment. And we realized the song is going to be forever timeless because it's hockey.
Oh, yeah.
Beer is forever timeless because people need beer. So it just only made sense to keep it timeless. So, and we didn't expect this well of a response. The beer is like so smooth and delicious. And I can't believe how quick some of these bars even clear it in their kegs. Like, I remember the local place we always used to get dickered at Handlebar Hanks in Welland. They cleared 5 50-liter kegs in like 2 weeks.
Whoa.
Yeah, and it was like, holy shit. Like, we're like no one knows this beer, you know? And yeah, like we didn't realize how this just opened up to be a whole other opportunity. So like, now I'm putting a lot of focus into, getting it out there. I'm starting to get into a lot of franchise bars and stuff now. And, like Mr. Mike's Steakhouse just picked it up now. And I'm working on getting in some arenas and stuff. So just trying to really focus on getting it into the hockey realm, the sports bar realm, and also like the venues, because we're a music band, right? So,
sure.
And we wanted to follow us on tour. So if the fans can literally drink their favorite beer while seeing their favorite band. So
hell yeah, man. That's it. I'm a big lager fan, so I haven't had the pleasure of trying some yet, but I'm excited to get my hands on some hopefully soon. It's like,
oh, well, listen, man, you will. It's going to be on tap in Peterborough. I can tell you that. So, especially when the boys are back there this year, you'll be able to try it that night.
Okay.
So
that's going to be a night then. Like, I'm going to see Revive the Rose and get absolutely
some bar down lager
on some bar down lager, man.
Hell yeah, man. Yeah.
That's it, man. One more thing I want to make sure we talk about too. And thank you so much for the time, man. It's been a pleasure getting to talk with you.
Likewise, dude.
One thing I want to make sure we touch on is September 4th. There is something really, really cool happening at Taps Brewhouse, and that is the Bar Down Fest. And I know you guys have got some acoustic stuff going on as well before then, but walk me through that real quick. Bar Down Fest.
Yeah, Bar Down Beer Fest is, I don't know. We just were like, well, we got to come back this year. Fall bookings are opening up. I'm like, let's just play one awesome hometown show, and let's make maybe like, let's get like, I love Taps Brewhouse so much. They've supported me since like we've been playing there since we were like little people band, and like they've always been about live music and stuff. I'm like, man, let's like. They got an outdoor stage in that parking lot. Let's just let's throw a festival. Fuck it. And we know a lot of people, like, and so we just said, screw it. We can sell our beer there. Like, people can buy the beer. They can catch some great new musicians that are out there, like that are, within our circle. We love introducing our fans to new bands. And, I've just been really studying how to run an event for a while now. And I really wanted to put myself to the test for it. And, we want to introduce some new merch and stuff. So yeah, we're like, let's just throw like the best hometown show and the only one for this year because everyone's been waiting.
Mm-hmm.
So we did. We booked Labor Day, which my birthday is the next day, and then Matt's is the day after mine. So it's like a triple send weekend.
Seriously? September 7th. What's up?
Nice, dude. There you go. See, this is like every reason why that weekend needs to happen. Yeah, I have your birthday off because I get my birthday off for work. But
there you go.
I'm on a Saturday, so they got to give me a Friday or Monday off. So I chose the Monday. But so we just I just reached out to the Monowhales and I said, yo, like, can I book you guys? Like, you cool with that? And like, yeah. So did that, and then I built the rest of the bill up with just some of our best friends in the industry, like. Got the fucking Jailbirds on there. Got Sons of Butcher. Like, I used to watch those guys on Teletoon, and now I get to, we've worked
them on a show
now, and we're just jamming shows now. It's like, what the fuck's going on? I don't know. It's cool. I just get to bring community together again, and it's just all around a good time. Who doesn't want to drink all the bar down lager you can at the source, you know?
There's nothing like drinking a brew from the place it's actually brewed at. Like there's nothing quite like it. It just hits differently.
Totally, man. And you know what? People can buy some and bring it home then, you know, like it's all one-stop shop. It's good. So that's kind of like why we decided let's make a festival. And, you know, I plan to do it annually. I hope to, you know, just slightly one-up it every year. And I want to make it a thing, you know. I've always admired people that like just put on festivals, like, you know, like a company like Dine Alone, always doing their own cool events like that. Like, man, why can't I do that? You know? So we felt as a band, we're at a comfortable spot to kind of finally start rolling that kind of shit out, you know, with the beer, especially, like it helps out a lot. So just want to make stuff happen, man. That's all I'm about. Just making this community, bring it back and take it by the balls, man. That's why that's happening.
That's awesome, man. Well, it's going to be a badass show, man. I'm hoping I can make it down for it. It's going to be awesome.
That'd be epic if you came down, man, because it's going to be a dinger, man. And yeah, you should definitely come, man.
I'm going to see if I can make that happen. But one last thing, I always like to ask this to everybody who's on the show, kind of a staple question here. Do you have a story of either or both the best show you ever played and or the worst show you ever played that it was like comical?
Yeah, man. The worst show I would think we played was in Montreal on our first tour. Matt and Pete and I, we got so drunk, like, because the booze is so accessible and cheap in Montreal. Like, we got like 18 tall cans for like $16. Like, I don't know, like it was dangerous, man. But yeah, we ended up blacking out. Like, Matt fell through my drum kit. Like, oh, no. I don't even remember the set. Pete's amp broke. Like, we had to go roll it to Steve's music to get it fixed. But like, he had to plug into Matt's amp to play guitar. Like, it was like sharing both guitar channels. Like, and then we ended up getting yelled at by a crackhead that was living under the stairs in the back parking lot. Like, it was just like, why the fuck did we go to Montreal to play?
Dude, I hear Montreal a lot. I'm not gonna lie. Like 90% of the time when I ask people who have toured, like, what's like the worst show you've played, I hear, not necessarily because of the city, it's just I hear Montreal a lot for some reason.
Yeah, dude. Well, they're one of the better towns to play. Like if you do it right, if you don't fuck up, like we did. Like
hammered drum set.
Yeah, man. Like, we just totally shit the bed on that. But that, you know, it's funny. It was the highest paying gig on that tour, and we still got paid. So
that's it, right?
Like, I think we were still tolerable, but it was just such a shit show. Like, at the same time, you know. But
they paid you because it was so entertaining, right? One of the two.
Yeah, exactly, man. And I definitely want to say the best show we've probably ever played was when we first opened for the Trues in Ancaster there. That was cool, man. Like, that was a really special moment. Like, and to be personally invited by the band. Yeah, man. Like, that's the only reason why we're on the bills, because the band said we want Revive the Rose to open for us. Like, that was humbling. And although it was a drive-in show, it was still fucking epic. Like, we just put on the best show ever. And it was just the whole leading up to it. It was just like seeing all the cars roll in. And I was like, damn, like, we got a big bill tonight. Like, that's fact. So, and I'd say in Thai, though, because that was a COVID gig, if I'm comparing it to a normal gig, though, definitely opening for Bush at Sound of Music Festival. That was cool.
That's awesome. I'm a big Bush fan, so that's cool.
Yeah. We were on the little stage, but like, we brought that whole crowd right to the little stage. It was fucking sick because it wasn't far from the merch or the food. So like, we just started giving it. And like, this whole sudden we had like fucking almost 1,000 people just crowded around this little stage. That's like literally not much higher than the people. But we played in between the bands, right, in the little stage.
Oh,
so
right
yeah, it was just cool, man. Yeah. And I got to hang out with Randy Bobandy all day. It was fucking awesome.
That's fair. That sounds like a story for another time.
Oh, dude, yeah, man. I can keep going, man. But yeah, that's that day.
Oh, that's it, man. Well, dude, it's been an absolute pleasure getting to talk with you, man. You've got such a fun story. And I mean, I'm so excited to see you guys keep just killing it. And, you know, best of luck with everything going on, man.
Hey, thanks, brother. It's been great talking to you, man. And yeah, appreciate you having me on.
Thanks a lot, man.
Hell yeah.
Hey, you. Yeah, you. Listening to The Harder Show right now. Are you in a band? Maybe you're a business owner of some kind, a performer, maybe a pro wrestler, an event promoter, an athlete, or maybe you're just an everyday person who needs some photo editing done. You need a great graphic design guy, and have I ever got the hookup for you? My man and close personal friend, Mr. Jason Reese from Jaybird Digital Arts. Whether you need logos, t-shirts, stickers, tickets, business cards, banners, menu, brochures, flyers, posters, Facebook banner videos, door hangers, photo editing and restoration, print ads, lyric video editing, signs, notepads, window clings, letterhead, bookmarks, programs, magnets, greeting cards, calendars, rack cards, invitations, envelopes, pens. Jason will work with you to develop a style that is unique to you and that tells everybody just how special your business, event, or you personally are, and you will stand out from the crowd. On top of the fact that he does offer free delivery between Cobourg, Ontario and Kingston, Ontario, message him today right now for a free quote. That's right, a free quote. Tell him about your idea. You got something outside the box, he will make it happen. With great rates and service, you cannot go wrong. I've used Jason literally for everything over the past 3.5 years, and I cannot say enough good things about the man himself and his work. So contact him today on the web at jaybirddigitalarts.com or on social media under Jaybird Digital Arts. That's Jaybird digitalarts.com. You can also email him at jaybird.digital.arts@gmail.com. And always keep in mind that his business is successful when your business looks good.
All right, guys, there you have it. That was my chat with Andy Colonico from Revive the Rose. I hope that you guys enjoyed that chat as much as I did. It was a lot of fun. Big shouts to Andy and the guys from Revive the Rose, man. They are a badass rock and roll band, and you're going to see them just blow up. You know, now that touring's back and everything. I mean, they're already blowing up, but man, now that touring's back, you're going to see them absolutely blow up. And I couldn't be happier because they truly deserve it. It's great to see so many Canadian artists lately really blowing up. It's really, really fun to see. So big shouts to them. Be sure to check out Revive the Rose on the social medias. I'll have some links down below here, and it would be awesome if you guys could go give them a like and support them because they very much deserve your support. Check out Bar Down Fest too. Don't miss that. And if you're in the Niagara area, check out the Bar Down Lager at Taps Brewhouse. Let them know that the Harder Show sent you, you know, and nothing will happen, but I appreciate it. I hope that you enjoyed today's episode. Be sure to hit that subscribe button or follow button, depending on how you are listening or watching. I very much appreciate it. Leave a like if you can, or leave a dislike if you think I suck. Either way, if you are listening on the Apple Podcast, you could take a second to leave me a review. That would be fantastic. That really, really helps me out on the iTunes chart. I'm showing my age with that one. On the Apple Podcast charts, it really helps me out. My goal for this year was to get into the top 40 again in the music podcast category in Canada. That was my goal. And I did it once before without even really knowing that it was a thing. So I'm really hoping we can do that again. But I need your guys' help for that. So check it out if you're listening on the Apple Podcast. Be sure to follow The Harder Show anywhere that you have social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. If you would like to be on The Harder Show, something you want to talk about, something you want to gab on about with yours truly, be sure to hit me up at thehardershow@gmail.com. And with that, I'm going to sign off here today. Thank you guys so very much for tuning in. Big shouts again to the guys from Revive the Rose and Andy, and I'll see you next time on The Harder Show. Take it easy, guys.